The architecture for survival in the rainforest today is one which guarantees the destruction of the rainforest, because the only options available to them are those of slash and burn agriculture. If they want to make money, they have to slash and burn more, because they then have to create products to sell. As the money market, or as the money culture begins to come into the jungle, which enters the minute they buy an outboard motor and now required to buy gasoline, they have to cut down more rainforest in order to generate the funds necessary to pay for the gasoline. Well, these Indians are not going to forego the outboard motor. It may mean that they can get to their dying mother before she dies, 3 days up the river or something by paddle, but a few hours by outboard motor. So you can't deny them the outboard motor. So it's inevitable that they would then start using the same technologies they've lived with forever, essentially slash and burn agriculture, to pay for the gasoline. It's essential that other opportunities are offered to them. We just discussed the opportunity associated with ecotourism and the difference between them controlling it and someone else controlling it. If they control it, it can open up real opportunities for them to make enough money so they don't have to slash and burn. They can pay for the gasoline via another means. They can buy food and so on and so forth. Jungle products, the same thing. Right now, they sell bulk trees. They might get $100 for a tree, say 24-inch in diameter tree, one of the nicer woods of the rainforest. They might get $100. But if they understand how to convert that into valuable items, they can easily make $20,000 gross on that tree. And that gross is important, because the gross involves what is paid out to their own people. Because these are very valuable lumbers. Right now, much of that is being just burnt, because they haven't got the means to move it, and they need to plant their crops. So they cut it down, burn it, that's the end of that. $20,000 down the drain, if they only had the technology to turn it into something. So we're, at the same time we're looking at the technology, we're talking to furniture designers up here to try to create very high-end furniture on the world market. We're looking to develop some prototypes with the Indians that express something of their culture. They already have their own furniture. It's very strange furniture by our standards, but it's very interesting. We might bring something of that forward. The materials they have are beautiful. Rosewoods, all kinds of strange wood. There's one called the fox. It's a beautiful flaming grain. And there's one that I have that we used on the Pájaro High called Amarillo Guayaquil, which it looks like opal. You look at it and it's just got this depth and beauty in it that and nobody ever heard of it. I've never heard of it before. These are materials that we could bring to the marketplace. They will then use the Pájaro High all over the world, and they themselves will be shifting crews, taking, there are about eight-man crews of the natives when they come on board. They give news conferences, they talk to the press, they invite the public on board, they support other indigenous groups. Everywhere they go, they invite, say, they were in Maine, for example, on the Penobscot River, where they went up 50 miles up the Penobscot River to invite the Penobscot Indians from Indian Island on board to talk about what happened to their kids, what happened to their grandkids, why is this alcoholism, why is this drug addiction, and so on and so forth. To try to understand in advance, before it happens to them, what went wrong. They've talked to the Wampanoags, the Apaches, the Maya, the Inca, all with the objective of trying to understand so that they can be wiser and not fall into these holes. And what they want to do with these initiatives that they're creating is offer the opportunity to other indigenous groups as well for them, the Mbana of the Darien rainforest, to help those other groups, the Penobscots, the Apaches, the Maya, to create markets, to create new businesses, to use the same model, to use the Pájaro High to support these things, and to get a certain critical mass. Now, I mentioned before that the Pájaro High itself gives great pride to these natives. After this odyssey up the east coast, the natives went back to their village, where the process of decay was already underway. The children deciding they don't want to speak the language anymore, the children deciding that they want to leave the village because there's no work, or they want to leave the village because they don't want to really be Indians anymore, because all they get is kicked in the teeth. When the Pájaro High came back with their aunts and their uncles and their fathers and their mothers on the Pájaro High, when they came back into the village, I heard no more from the little kids about how they wanted to leave. All I heard was, I'm from Moge, that's who I am, and I'm an Indian, I'm a Mbana. No longer was it, oh, well, I'd like to, you know, apathy about being who they were. There was pride, and from that you can build something. Now, that's an ingredient necessary for all of us, I think. And one of the things that we need is projects and sort of goals that are highly admirable goals, something that people will stand up and cheer about. So what we're planning on doing is getting this paradigm for reforestation launched, which is to change the architecture, to try to have them seize the initiative so they have other alternatives all over the world, to talk to indigenous natives, to try to help them put their shoulders behind the whole issue of reforestation. How do we cure the ills of our environment that we have created? What do we do to stop this process? The West has not been very successful. Right now, I've heard the figure that there's about 1 acre per second of rainforest being destroyed. We're not really succeeding. We need something better. We need a better paradigm for this. And we think the indigenous natives and the way their cultures flow are much more kind to the rainforest than are ours. And if we can just help them empower themselves, I think we have a chance. So the idea is to try to get a whole indigenous movement, that the indigenous people will begin to assume responsibility in their own environments for the health of the planet by linking reforestation to the businesses that they create.